Now these days on Amazon and eBay you can pick up a very attractive chronograph watch with a well-respected movement for not much money, and you will probably get lucky. Unfortunately, when I did this, the watch I received stopped after a few weeks and completely seized up. So let's use some really quite old watchmaking tools and techniques to get this modern chronograph up and running. Okay, so this is a Seagull ST19 chronograph movement, and these movements are really good, but they do have to be put in the case properly to work. You can see that this one has been chucked in this case with this cheap and cheerful plastic movement holder, and there's nothing particularly wrong with that. It's not very nice, but it kind of works. The problem with this one is that the pushers are too short. There is just too much fresh air between the end of the pusher and the chronograph lever that it locks onto, so if you push it all the way in, it's nearly at the end of its travel before it engages with the lever. When we push the lever, it should result in the column wheel being dragged around before it kind of half gets it, and because of that the hammer half releases. This is the hammer here. The hammer half releases and then gets caught in the cam here, and the mechanism just seizes up because nothing will turn. So okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is just take the stem out, and in this caliber the little pusher for that is actually hidden beneath, well, it's not hidden, it's exposed through this hole, through this lever. So just push on that and we can liberate the stem, which looks a little bit gunky, maybe rusty up here. So probably need just to clean that up a little bit. Sometimes these plastic holders are a little bit firmly in, so I'm just going to get an old pair of tweezers here. Actually just touching that, it didn't feel like it. I think that's going to come out quite easily, but old pair of tweezers, just lift that up and take that out. Not the nicest movement holder in the world, but I guess it works. And the movement is ready to drop out now, particularly because these pushers are just so short. So and just pop that over there, turn that upside down and lift that off, and there we go. One ST19 attached to a very handsome dial. Now, because the chronograph mechanism has been jammed for so long, I'm going to take this opportunity just to strip off the chronograph works and give them a good clean by hand, and then lubricate them properly, so that with the new pushers and the serviced chronograph we should have a really nice operation of the watch. So this chronograph movement that you're about to see me disassemble, which is manufactured by Seagull in China, it is not a movement of their design. In fact, the design was done by a Swiss company called Venus, and in the 1960s they sold all of the machinery for making the movement to the Chinese, and they've been knocking them out ever since. In fact, whilst making this video I was doing a little bit of research and found a really nice vintage Breitling with a Venus 178 movement in it, and the watch was lovely, but it did cost £3,500 and was probably worth every penny. Now, when you consider that it is an old movement of exactly the same type, and I mean exactly, you know, these watches, when you can get them fitted into the case correctly, they're a really good bet, I think. Okay, so we can see that the design of these is pretty suspect really, because they're designed to elongate, but as soon as you start pulling this pusher out, very quickly it's going to become quite wobbly and not ideal. So we're going to make a couple of these now, which will be longer. They won't have this notch on the end, and they'll screw right in hard, so they'll work a lot better. And you can see that the tip here is still a little bit blunt, and we want it nice and sharp, so we just got to continue this for a little bit longer. Okay, so looking for options then for a piece of metal to recreate one of these pushers and make it a little bit longer. We could use a piece of pivot steel like this. This is what we make balance staffs out of. We could cut it just like a balance staff, but it's really hard, and unless you've got the right kind of tooling, getting a thread on the end of it is going to be difficult. So you could use something that you've already got, and in fact most watchmakers have about 8 million of these. This is a tool for taking spring bars on and off, and when you look at it, it is already very similar to what we've got. And as you can see there, I have already put a little thread on it just to check that it is a kind of mild steel. Yeah, so we're just going to use a couple of these. So the paint on the dial is coming off at the edge, and as we're about to remove the hands, I'll just focus in on the center there, we're going to have to be really careful, because loose paint on the edge of the watch is one thing because it's hidden by the bezel, but in the middle of the dial it's a bit of a disaster, so I'm going to have to take this really carefully. So as I continue to take this chronograph movement apart, I just want to show you something that's utterly shocking. Yep, it's hard to believe, I know, but 91% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed. In fact, I just passed over 100,000 subscribers, so, you know, if you do the maths, if everyone was subscribed, I would have 1 million subscribers, which would actually be really nice, and I could make more videos. So yeah, if that makes you feel guilty, then it's free. Just click on the red button there and subscribe, and that would be much appreciated. Oh, this looks nice. This is my new watch from my own brand Major, which was my rank when I left the British Army. Now, in the past, these have been made all in black, but this is the new version in steel. Check out the link in the description. So as I finish up the disassembly here, I'm not gonna talk over it, so just sit back and relax and soak it in. So I've been watching, not without some admiration, this Chinese watchmaker on Instagram cleaning parts by hand, and he has this really nice little brush to do it, and I don't have such a thing, but I want to do it, so I figured I'd make one. Okay, in preparation for our newly made pushers, and you'll see me cutting those on the lathe in a minute. Let's get the chronograph works back on this watch, and as I do this, you'll see me use some reassuringly expensive lubricants. puffing and sighing in the background. That is my apprentice, who's actually also my daughter, struggling to make immaculately clean a Seawolf watch, because she makes them now under my supervision, and that piece is going in nicely. There we go, that's good. And the noise in the background this time is Jennifer polishing the movement retention ring for a Seawolf, because although the customer can't see it, we like it to be polished nicely before it goes in the case. And that is a little screw. You don't want that jumping off the desk and going on the floor, otherwise you got a problem. Okay, これは少し難しいです。This is a little bit difficult because I have to drag this against a spring here to center it over the hole, and then hold it in place while I screw it in. So okay, Jenny, can you just do something for me really carefully?
Yeah.
I need you to stand up, come behind me, pick up that light source and bring it around my other shoulder, because I'm doing something really difficult in the dark here.
This light source.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it is under your arm, you know that, the wire.
Yeah, just try and move it round to the other side.
It's going to wrap round you though.
Yeah, that's fine. That is fine, like that, thank you. Can you move it down a bit lower? I'm trying to get it onto the light this side. Okay, that is a bit better, thank you.
There?
Yeah. Evidently, done. Thank you.
I'm going to go see what those dogs are up to.
Yeah. Okay, so here are the two new pushers fitted into the case. I think the threaded section is a little bit long, so I might have to take that down a tiny bit, but here is the old one, or one of the old ones. And as you can see, the old one is shorter by quite some way, because the old one used to disappear completely into the pusher there. So and now this is a particularly good piece of design, because this little feisty spring here is going to be held down in place nice and strongly by the screw that also holds this lever in place, so it's doing two jobs here, which is elegant design, not by Seagull but by Venus. So Bella, what do you think of this video so far? Okay, we're just going to put the balance back on now. Before we do that, just want to change the orientation of the end of the pallet fork. Just going to flick that over, if I can do that. Hang on. Okay, and just nudge that. There we go. So that flicked over nicely, so there is power in the train. And then I'm just going to pop this in. I'm just going to pop this in, like so. Hang on. And there she goes. And straight up to nice high amplitude there. I do like this movement. And even with its swan neck regulator here with two nice blued screws. I mean, they've even bothered to do it nicely with different coloured metals and things. It's really very good. We like it a lot. And it's even nicer when I take my hand out of the way and we get the light on it. That is cool. So with the movement complete, I've just tried it with the new pushers and they are a little bit too long, as you can see here, so we're going to need to go back in the lathe and just shave a little bit off the end to get them to fit. Okay, that is the movement in with the new pushers. And as you can see, there's very little play now with the bottom pusher there. So if I press it, it turns the column wheel at the top, which is engaging the chronograph mechanism, and then I push it again and it turns it again and releases the chronograph mechanism. And if I press the top one, it puts the hammer right back. So do it again, push it, turns the column wheel, engages the mechanism. Do it again to stop it, and then reset. Boom. Well, this is now working nicely. Let's have a look at it from the front. Okay, so engaging the chronograph now. That is lovely, that goes off really nicely. And then I'm going to fast forward the footage so that we see it turn over. Okay, could you see the chronograph hand skipping slightly there? That's because we need to readjust one of the centrics, because only just making contact with the center wheel. So we'll get in there and do that in a minute, but just want to see the register turnover, and that is, so it should go any second now. Looking at the sub dial on the right, and there it goes. Excellent. So stop it and reset, and they both go back to 0, and that is pretty much smack on. It doesn't get much better than that. There we are.